Hello everyone. Thank you for taking your time to this video. Today we are going to talk about AWS EC2, which is Elastic Cloud Compute. So whenever we deploy our application or anything, we need servers. So in AWS to get the or provision the servers, this is what we use, which is AWS EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. So it is resizable. You can basically on demand uh, provision the server. You don't need to buy a data center for this, right? Or rent a data center. That's the advantage of the cloud. Based on your usage and your types, you can actually provision the servers, basically your instance. We'll just try to understand different types of EC2s or instance types which AWS provides. So the high level categorization is general purpose, which is for the web servers, app servers, small to medium databases. And you can understand this from M7, M6, M5, T3. These are general purpose workloads for the example workloads. Then you have compute optimized, where you need high performance processors. This is for gaming, batch processing, very compute intensive workloads. Then you have memory optimized, where high memory instances are required in memory databases, analytics. Then you have the other type is storage optimized. This is for data warehousing, big data, where your high ops throughput or local storage are very important. Then we have accelerated computing. This is for high graphics processing, machine learning, deep learning. So these are GPUs, physically big size GPUs. These are the instance types. Then we have burst tables, low to moderate workloads for test environments. T3, T2, T4, T4G. These are the options in the instance types. And coming to the various options, how you can provision or the instances. So the various options are on demand. Basically, say right now I just need one instance. I will create the instance. That is called as on demand. On demand, obviously, you'll have to pay per second or pay per hour based on the type of instance. And there is no long-term commitments. Say I want instance for a day, then I can just raise this instance and then terminate the instance after a day. But it will be expensive as compared to the other. Then we have different saving plans where you basically commit that you would be using specific compute types or instance types for 1 or 3 years. You get good discounts. Similarly, reserved instances. So you provide specific instance configuration, and again you get a good discount because you have reserved it for 1 or 3 years. And then we even have different payment types in that, full, partial. Based on that, you get more discounts. What instances? This is like a bidding process. So you can bid for a EC2. You can put your bid. The only problem with this is, say, AWS can actually stop your instance at any time and take it back anytime. So these are spot instances. Then we can have dedicated host. See, these instances, they are on shared hosts basically. So there could be multiple other people are running their instances on the same host. But say suppose I want a separate host, then you can have dedicated host. You can bring your own license, etc. And then you can have dedicated instances. So there will be a hardware which is dedicated to you. That is the dedicated instances. Now, what are the various options of storage with EC2? EBS, Amazon EBS. This is covered in one of our videos. Then instance store. This is basically attached to your EC2. Once your EC2 is gone, you will lose this as well. It's a temporary storage, but very high speed. Then we have, this is part of EBS snapshots. And then we'll come to AMIs. AMIs is basically Amazon machine image. So you want a specific type of OS, there could be a version of that. So you are kind of creating the OS image. So that OS image could be different. It could be a plain Linux. It could be Windows. It could be some customized OS image, which some of them might put some development tools into that. So those kind of things. So these are machine images. So Amazon also provides option of marketplace, or you can create your own as well. Then you choose the AMI. That's the first step. Then you choose the instance type, whether you want general purpose compute optimized. Then you configure the VPC, the networking part basically. Again, I have covered this in one of my videos. You can go through that. Then roles, storage that we have seen. Then you can add storage. Then you can add tags and they can launch. It's a simple way to launch the instance. We'll do that through AWS console. So let's go to that. So whenever you go to AWS console, you choose this one, C2. Here on the left hand side, you can go to instances. You can directly go to launch instance. I can give the name to my instance. Here you choose the Amazon machine image. So there are a lot of options here: Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, and then we have this marketplace as well. So it is up to us. So I'm going with Linux. Then instance type. Again, there is a big list. What we have seen, like compute optimized, storage optimized, memory optimized, general purpose. So this T3 micro is general purpose and it is free tier eligible. You can do the comparison here. You can see the various instance type. So every instance type comes with different configurations, like what is the virtual CPUs, what is the RAM, what is the architecture that is being followed, what did be the instance storage type, HDD, etc. The network performance, this is very important. So based on your workload requirement, you can choose the instance type. The cost varies based on the instance type. Then you have this key pair. Suppose I want to connect to my instance, then I can use this key pair. And this key pair can be used for multiple instances. If you want to create a new one, just give the name here and what would be the encryption type. And suppose if you are going to use OpenSSH and .pem file or .ppk. I have already created one. Then in the network setting, so since I don't have any VPC here, it is asking me to create a new default VPC. Let me do that. Create a default VPC. Default VPC. Start again. Now instance. Using Amazon Linux. T3 micro. Use my key pair. And here I can choose VPC. Then which availability zone, subnet, auto assign public IP. So it will assign the public IP. Then there is security group option. Again, create the security group here. Once this is done, then we have this option of storage. You can create one new storage. This is your EBS volume only of type GP3. It is saying 8 gigabytes. Okay, I'm just adding that. And I think this information is enough to create your instance. Let's do that. It will take few seconds. Just keep one thing in mind. With your instance, you can have security groups. It's like a firewall on top of instance. So these are always allow all by default. So when I don't have any entries, it means everything is allowed. Sorry, it is other way around. When there is no entry, nothing is allowed. If you want to allow something, you need to add this entry. What would be the inbound rules and outbound? If you don't have any security groups, you need to attach one security group. One default is required. Let's see. Is initializing. And then here you can do the changes. There are a lot of options here. You can start, stop, reboot instance, hibernate, terminate. In the security options, you can change the security groups. In the image and templates, basically after you create the instance and say suppose you do some customization, after that customization you can create your own AMIs and then you can use it. It is also one of the options. And after the AMIs, you can even have launch templates. These launch templates, basically, it's a standard kind of template that I want to follow whenever I create a instance. So let's see launch template. Instead of you going every now and then putting all the details, you just have launch template. You directly use that launch template. Then we talked about reserved instances, spot request, dedicated host. So these are the various options, pricing options that are based on your requirement you can choose. Suppose I am very sure that I am going to use the three instances for 3 years. Then I should go with the savings plan. It is going to save me a lot of money. Let's see the status again. Yeah, it is up and running. If we see the details, we have the public IP address. There is one private IP address. Instance is running. This is the public DNS. Then the instance type. You can even have the elastic IP. We'll talk about this. Then we have VPC, subnet, all these details. Here you have the security group details, inbound rules and outbound rules. Networking details are here. You have seen. Then there is storage here. In the storage, there is this option delete on termination. So when we terminate the instance, this volume will be terminated or deleted. This is nothing here but EBS. And then you have monitoring, where you can monitor what is the CPU utilization and all other things. This is coming from CloudWatch. This is all about EC2. There are other things like placement groups, which we'll cover in the other video. For now, let me give you one more information. When I do a reboot, uh, then my public IP address remains the same. But if I stop the instance and again start the instance, the public IP address will change. So just keep this in mind. So suppose I don't want my public IP address to change. In this case, you create one elastic IP and attach it to this instance. So it will never change. So this is the importance of elastic IP and the public IP and the difference between stop and reboot. Any other details? I think this is good enough for the this lecture. If I go here, let me see the other options. Here you can see public IP, availability zone, and just stop this instance. Let's see what happens. Just note the public IP here, 5491. Okay, my instance is stopped. Let me again start the instance. It's running, but here you can see public IP has changed. It is what I was referring. And when you reboot, your IP address doesn't change. Public IP basically. But you can have an elastic IP which will always stay. But it costs some money. Okay. I think this is enough for this video. I'll terminate this instance. The same option. Once I terminate, I won't be charged anything. Similarly, when I stop the instance, I won't be charged anything. So this is all about EC2. We'll have few more things to talk about in the coming videos. We'll cover all those. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Hope you like this video. Have a great day.